Hey guys, welcome to WDWNT Nerdalert. I'm your host, Joe Hogarty, and joining me tonight is Jack McCarthy.
Howdy, folks.
So tonight what we'll be doing is we're going to be starting our Marvel DC March Madness. It's going to be different this year. We will have a lot more participants this time. We're going to have 64 characters. So we're basically going to have Marvel and DC, but we're also going to have superheroes and villains, so you can see superheroes go against superheroes, villains go against villains, and of course,
cornucopia of characters.
Yeah, it's hopefully going to be crazy and a lot of fun. If we have time, we will also discuss WandaVision episode 8. We'll also discuss the latest news, and if we have time, we'll discuss or answer some listener email. But first, I wanted to talk to Jack because Dan had recommended me watching this show, and I haven't watched it because I just haven't been a fan of most of the CW shows that they've been airing. But I watched Superman and Lois, and I got to say, I really enjoyed the first episode. Second episode, not as good as the first, but I still enjoyed it. Have you seen it, Jack?
I had seen the first episode. I haven't gotten to the second one. It's on my DVR.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but I think it's interesting. It's kind of like you can look at it almost like an Elseworld or a retelling of Superman's story. I guess all these movies and TV shows are like that. Not necessarily canon, but in this, him and Lois are married, and they have two twin sons. One's name is Jonathan. One's name is Jordan, I think. And one is a jock and the other one is a recluse and has social anxiety problems. He's, very to himself. He's like one of those, kids that's into grunge, almost like, I wouldn't say an emo, but he's just not a very happy person.
He's the typical angsty, moody teenager.
There you go.
And the other guy is the happy jock who just life is good for him.
Gets all the girls. He's on the football team and all that stuff. So it's interesting. First of all, Tyler Hoechlin, who plays Superman, I would say he's only second to Christopher Reeve as Superman. I think he's great.
I agree with that. I think he's the best we've seen since Christopher Reeve in the first two Superman movies.
Yep.
And I mean, he has the look. He also pulls it off. Superman can be a tough character to play because he can come across as hokey. And the same way as Captain America, Chris Evans pulls that off so it doesn't feel hokey, it doesn't feel cheesy. He does the same thing with Superman. I think he's great.
Well, the difference between Captain America and Superman is that Steve Rogers never has to play the nerdy type. He can be himself, basically.
Yeah, but it's that playing a character that is just so innately good.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. He does a good job with that. That even the opening scene when he saves a kid, and the kid goes, "Cool costume." He's like, "Thanks, my mom made it for me."
Yeah,
and he takes off. That's like such a typical Superman line scene, and he pulls it off. Where it's funny without being too hokey.
Yeah. But I'm saying he gets the nerdy part too. Like when he interacts like with the townsfolks, you really can't tell he's Superman because he's very shy and he's very kind of worried about joining the conversation without looking like an idiot. And people look at him as a nerd, and not everybody is drawn to him because of his nerdiness.
I don't think that's as much of a case, though.
It is.
I don't think he comes across as nerdy. He comes across as a little bit of the guy who just doesn't want to make waves.
No, he comes across as nerdy. Like even like when Lois when she first met him, and he was very bumbling with her, and he was calling her Miss Lane, and she's like, "Well, you can call me Lois," and he just was fixing his glasses and all that stuff. He's very nerdy, and even the townsfolk with Smallville, he's very kind of nerdy, and he keeps up that act. The one thing that pisses me off in this show, and it's always pissed me off in all these movies, except I'm going to mention
always something,
of course, is that Martha Kent, she is having financial problems, and she hasn't told Clark about it. And then when they find out that they're losing the farm, they're like, well, what are we going to do? We don't have the money, to pay the mortgage and all that stuff. Come on, he's Superman. I mean, Superman could just go flying and look for buried treasure in the ocean and just pick it up, cash it in, and doesn't have to worry about money. I don't want to hear this crap that, well, it's not the right thing to do. Yes, you can,
So you want Superman to commit tax evasion?
Well, he could pay taxes on it, but I mean, look at Superman 3. You remember in Superman 3 at the end, he goes down to this coal factory and he says, can I have a piece of coal? And they're like, sure, Superman. And then he squeezes it.
Squeezes it into a diamond.
He makes this giant diamond and he gives it to Lana Lang because she's having financial problems. And well, she also wears it a ring, but I guess she gets it appraised or whatever the hell. But anyway, it kind of solves her financial problems. Superman could do that. He doesn't have to be goody two shoes and again, in this one, he gets laid off from the Daily Planet and all this stuff. And they're like, well, how are we going to afford the rent and all this stuff? It's like, just go into space and pick out like some sort of material that we don't have on this earth and just sell it for the money.
They're trying to make him relatable.
Not that relatable. Anyway, I'm getting too much into it. Lois is Lois. She's just your, roving reporter, kind of sticking her nose in business, which she shouldn't, and she's going to get in trouble. But I think it's a good show, and he is very Superman-y, and you saw the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end, you see that, the alien that's basically attacking him is not an alien.
Yes, I don't know how that works in, and that's one of the things I'll be curious to watch for, because they already have that character in the CW Arrowverse. So is he from an alternate timeline? Is he from the future?
Well, I won't spoil it for you.
Exactly. But that character is already in the Arrowverse. So
that exact character, that actor too?
In the first episode, I don't remember seeing it. I just remember seeing the back of the head.
Oh, the back of the head. Okay.
So I got to check out the second one still. So you're 1 week ahead of me.
But he beats the crap out of Superman a little too much, for Lex Luthor.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it's Luthor. Come on. When he takes his head off.
I was trying to stay spoiler free for our listeners who might be checking out the show.
I was just staying spoiler free for you.
So, you got to remember, in his suit, he was packing some kryptonite.
That's true.
So, of course, while Superman might not have, fallen over half dead, he could have been weakened just by being that close to fighting somebody wearing kryptonite armor. Well, armor with a piece of kryptonite inside. So.
Well, and the one thing.
See episode 2.
You have to see episode 2. But the one thing, again, that surprised me, and again, I haven't been following the CW shows or anything, was that, Luthor was black in this, And, at first, like I always say, I like to see a character look as close to the comic.
That's revealed in episode 2?
Well, even in episode 1, you see the back of his head.
It was dark. I didn't notice that. Okay. Well, then this definitely puts it as an alternate timeline, alternate multiverse thing, because John Cryer is Lex Luthor on Supergirl.
Oh, I don't know.
He's knocking it out of the park.
Oh, John Cryer, like I remember the
Ducky.
Yeah, Ducky.
2.5 Men.
Yeah.
He plays a terrific Luthor.
Really? I mean, I haven't seen him.
I'm not kidding you, Joe. He brings this smartest man in the room, scheming, maniacal character to life. He does terrific on it. If you won't watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., watch some Supergirl.
I'll watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Not to mention she's cute as heck anyway.
I'll watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. before I watch Supergirl.
Then you are depriving yourself of an hour
I'm not.
on a weekly basis.
But anyway, so what I wanted to say though is that yeah, again, I'm used to Lex Luthor with the bald head, and and he's a rich white guy and everything. But this guy is great. Let me tell you. I mean, I'm not going to give too much away in the second episode, but he is ruthless. He's got the build, what I would expect a Lex Luthor to be. That he's taking everything super serious. It's not only is he smart and he's rich, but again, he works on his body, he works on his mind, and he's not one of those, Lex Luthors that you can compromise with. He is just ruthless, and I love that about him. And
I didn't
from
know
what I've seen
Lex
so far,
Luthor was known for his compromising,
well, yeah,
except in Smallville, because
well, yeah,
Lex Luthor was kind of friends with Clark Kent on and off. So
you'll have to see in the next episode, like
all
the
right,
first
I'll
few
see.
minutes, what he does, and I'm like, oh, that's my Lex Luthor. That was a good one. Anyway, yeah, again, I'm a big Superman fan. So definitely I would recommend to check it out. Go into it realizing that this is it's just a different retelling of the
I
Superman
do
story.
have to say, I like the costume he wore better in the Arrowverse crossovers. They kind of updated to be more like the new DC, New 52.
No,
I missed the
in
trunks.
this one. In this one,
yeah, I missed the trunks.
No. Well, he had trunks on in the crossover event.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been cool.
He had more of the classic.
His collar, though, what I don't like about it, his collar comes up to here. It should be like down to here. I know it's like very nitpicking.
No, I don't think so. I think it should be up to here with just a big S. I don't know why they don't make that S bigger, like the picture behind you.
Yeah, it should be a big S, a little bit down, but his thing, it's not a turtleneck like or a priest collar like the New 52, and I think it was Superman Returns and all that stuff, but it's a decent costume.
It's still a good costume.
Yeah, I like it.
Not my favorite.
And I like the way he flies and all that stuff, but it's different. The special effects are definitely toned back a little bit compared to the movies like Man of Steel and Batman.
It's TV budget, but
yeah,
I mean, if you watch some Supergirl, you'll see that they've had some really terrific superhero fights. Like Supergirl fought another person who was close to her powers, and they were fighting all over the city, getting knocked into buildings, but not Man of Steel, where the building comes falling down, but they end up fighting in offices and they punch each other and fly out to another building. They had some great scenes and they looked pretty good. Yeah. They've come a long way on TV special effects.
They've come a long way, baby.
You got it.
But I'm pretty impressed. All right, let's get into the news. So Rian Johnson came out and apparently he said he had no idea that Ben Solo was going to die in The Rise of Skywalker. They never told him about it. And I think shortly after that, Daisy Ridley came out and confirmed that she was told that Rey was a nobody all the way up until The Rise of Skywalker, and then they just changed it.
I believe that because like we've talked before, they didn't have an overall plan for this.
Yep.
They could have gone they did go with Kylo Ren being redeemed to Ben Skywalker, but I don't think they had anything laid out in a specific plan. That's been very apparent when you look at the progression of the movies. I mean, honestly, Rise of Skywalker would probably been a heck of a lot better if J.J. Abrams didn't feel he had to apologize for as much of what Rian Johnson did. But honestly, as I've said before, I like The Last Jedi more and more now than when it first came out.
Me too. I agree with you.
Just because it's a different type of storytelling. And I'm not saying it's better, but it moves the story along in a better way. Like all sorts of little things always tie into each other. Even dialogue where, Luke Skywalker says, what do you think? I'm going to go out there with my laser sword and face down the whole First Order? He ends up doing it. Daisy Riddle is like, well, is the Force used for only moving rocks? Later on, the rocks move up. They go someplace. There's those little crystal foxes. Well, those serve the story a little bit later on. So everything was kind of tied together very nicely in his storytelling. And I think he did a good job. I don't think anybody's crazy about how dark Luke Skywalker went in that approach. But you know what? It was something different. It'd be a shame if he was just hanging out on this island all by himself, like, hey, yeah, I'm just here, everything's fine, No, it gave a reason why he went into a seclusion. And like I said, everything tied up very nicely in it. There were still some questions to be answered. I think people need to give it a chance. Don't shut down. It's a lot better than a lot of people say it is, and it's much better than Rise of Skywalker. So, yeah. But in the same way, I don't think they had a plan. I think Rian Johnson forced them into a way where Rey was a nobody, but why not? Why not have her as a nobody? As we saw in that movie, the Force was manifesting in different people all over the place, and they weren't invested. It wasn't flaring up in people that were rich and powerful. No, it's flaring up in the stable boy on this gambling planet somewhere. So she could just have been the Force awakening, manifesting. She didn't have to be anybody. And that's my problem with a lot of movies. Not everybody has to be somebody. Every supervillain doesn't have to have a personal relationship with the hero. Everybody doesn't have to come from a dynasty of previous heroes. It could just be everyday people rising up and doing heroic things. And I think that was one of the points of Rian Johnson, the direction he took. And of course, like I said, J.J. Abrams said, no, we can't have that. He spent half of his movie apologizing for the last one, which I think did a disservice. I mean, I like Rise of Skywalker. I don't love it, but I like it. I think there's a lot of cool stuff in it, but some of it is outright dumb.
Wow. I remember when you loved it, Jack.
No, I love a lot of it. Like, I love that last battle with all the spaceships from all over the place.
I don't.
I like the lightsaber fights.
I like the lightsaber fight. That was pretty cool.
Okay. But I was thinking about the other day because it was on, and I watch it, and I'm like, the whole thing with the Sith dagger. Yeah. Like, they take it and they hold it, and it lines up correctly to the ruins of the Death Star. Well, first off, when they made this dagger, it was supposed to be before the Death Star 2 was destroyed. And then how did they know to stand on the exact spot where they could hold it up and it would fit correctly to the profile of it? Yeah. It's like, these are things after you watch it several times where, maybe the movie wasn't as good as, you were psyched up when you saw it and it was great to see everybody come back. But in repeated watchings where Rise of Skywalker is on a downturn, The Last Jedi with each watching is getting better and better. It's going up. So, did I totally sidetracked you? No, I didn't.
No. I mean, I was just going to say that I felt The Last Jedi, not that it was The Empire Strikes Back, but how it was similar was that it was different, like you said. And different is always good. Well, most of the time, as long as it's a good story. But I'd rather have different than the same, like just more of what happened in The Force Awakens. And I appreciate the fact that he went in that direction because it gave us a surprise. Like, you're going to kill off, what's his face? I can't think of Snoke, in the second chapter. Wow, that's pretty big. And, Luke dying, that was pretty big and all that stuff. But for whatever reason, J.J. Abrams didn't like what he did. And he's like, well, let me direct the next one and I'll fix everything. and he should have never touched it. It's like, it's unfortunate that he got his hands on it. If he would have done all three, I think it would have been a much better trilogy, but he didn't. He didn't want to do two. So
Right.
it's just unfortunate that they had to course correct, like you said.
Yeah. Also, in watching The Last Jedi, probably what makes it better is the fast forward button, where I can't bite.
Yeah, I mean,
fast forward over that until they're caught on the Star Destroyer.
Yeah, that's the big problem, is the Canto Bight stuff. But again, even if you look at that, it's small in the grand schemes of things, because they're on Canto Bight for maybe about 20 minutes, but it's a much better movie than The Rise of Skywalker. I think The Rise of Skywalker is crap. I mean, I don't want to get into it because I want us to get into the March Madness stuff. But anyway, okay. So all right, next news story.
Tell us about the next story, Joe.
So Bill Burr, who played, is it Mayfield, I think was his name, in the Mandalorian. So he came out and he defended Gina Carano after she was fired. And I follow Bill Burr. He's a comedian, like he's a stand-up comedian, and he's totally against cancel culture. He basically said that she was a really nice person. He liked working with her, and he just doesn't like the whole idea that, she was let go in that way. And, it's the same thing with, with cancel culture. It's like, once you start canceling one person, it's going to be a lot easier to cancel other things, and Disney just seems to kind of jump on that bandwagon too. Like, where if somebody doesn't like something, it's like, oh, we got to get rid of it, or stuff like that. And that was my whole point too with Gina Carano. I felt that if you're going to work for Disney and Lucasfilm, and you're going to be making a decent amount of change, you got to be careful what you say online.
Exactly.
No matter what side you're for, you should just be. I mean, if it was me, I don't go on Facebook and I don't post anything because I don't want to piss people off or anything like that. I just want people to like me on Facebook. I don't post things anymore, Jack. You give me this face like I don't. I put positive quotes and that was about it. In the past, I might have, but I stopped because, again, you don't want people to hate your guts.
25 years from now, when you're running to be a senator, they're going to say Joe Hogarty back in.
That's never going to happen.
Said.
That's never going to happen. Anyway, so my point is, just say it's like, I went to the gym today. The sun is so beautiful. Look at this picture that I took. Look at my dog. She's so happy, or something like that. You don't have to make political comments all the time, on your posts, and especially if it's going to piss off 50% of your audience, and I think that's
really funny.
What's that?
So, sometimes, like, I'm the same way. I don't post that often. I may comment on people's posts like, hey, that's cool or whatever. But sometimes something comes across much funnier than you would think. Like, I remember one political thing I posted was a picture of a great white shark. And it was, shark attacks are, 1 in 100,000. You're more likely to be bit by Hillary Clinton than a shark. I mean, it was just a funny post. And, I put stuff like that out, but you can't look at any of my posts and say, I'm trying to offend somebody, because they're so laughable. If you take my posts to offense, you're really touchy.
Well, that's just it.
And I hear you. I know what you mean.
I mean, I think that they acted too fast. I don't know how many times they talked to her. If they talked to her like 4 or 5 times and said, look, we don't like you posting this stuff, and she still continued to do it, then that's an issue. They have a right to do what they want. But, if she did it a couple of times and, she didn't get a stern warning about it, and then all of a sudden it's like, that's enough. We've had it. You're gone, and all that. And instead of like having a chance to hear her side of the story or whatever, I just think that they might have acted a little too harshly. But I understand too why these things can happen.
Oh yeah, you could have one really bad day at work and end up getting fired.
That's true. Very true.
That could happen to anybody, whether you're actor, actress, a shelf stalker, taxi driver, whatever. You could have one bad day, make a bad mistake, and you're done. So,
but it's nice that Bill Burr.
Kind of how it happened. She made a mistake.
Yeah,
it should have been a mistake. Most people know better than making, and her boss fired her. I mean, that's what happens. Well, if you doubt my word, go say something bad to your boss and see what happens.
Don't advise them to do that.
I dare you. That's your homework for the week, listener. Go piss off your boss.
What are you, me now all of a sudden? But I'm just saying, it was nice.
Nerd alert, fair and balanced.
Shut up and let me talk, all right? Every time I try to say a sentence, like, rah, 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 rah. I said it was nice that Bill Burr stuck up for her, which that's kind of why I mentioned it.
It's nice that her fellow actors do support and they stick together. That is nice.
At least one, anyway. But she ain't coming back. That's about it. So, all right, last story. So Warner Brothers is rebooting Superman in the theaters, and they are looking for a black actor to play Superman, according to Hollywood Reporter. Did you hear about this story? Or
I didn't hear about this story, but I remember I'm more of a Marvel guy, but I kind of look at DC stuff a little on the side, in the comic news and stuff. And I think with this future state or something, they've introduced a black Superman. I haven't picked it up because I'm so far behind in my Marvel comics. I haven't even thought to take on anything in DC. And I think like the last Batman issue I read was like in the low 50s, and they're up over 100 right now. So even on the little bit of DC reading I've read, I'm so far behind. I don't know anything about this future state work, but they're giving all the characters new identities and stuff. I don't know how popular it is. I don't know what the numbers are. So, like I said, I'm not following it. So that may already be a situation in the comics that they're going to bring forward into the movies for a more diverse DC movie. What is it? The DC cinematic.
They changed it.
Universe,
they still don't know what to call it. It used to be called that, but it's not. They don't know what to call it anymore. Because again, they got Wonder Woman, they got Joker, they have this new Batman. So they're just throwing things at a dartboard, basically.
Gal Gadot is just such a perfect Wonder Woman.
She did, but that movie sucked. You got to admit that.
There were definite problems with it.
There was big problems with that.
Once again, you need a good villain. If you don't get the villain right, your superhero movie isn't going to be right. And that's the problem that they don't get. They put in so much work on backstory and side characters that it's like, you know what? You need somebody good for your hero to fight. You need the conflict, and that's what they need to work on. Not all this personal life conflict in the background all the time. Let's face it, we go to superhero movies to see big action sequences of people fighting, not their personal lives, not their home life. That's what we enjoy comic books for. If Spider-Man spent 90% of its time on Peter Parker's bad luck, Spider-Man would sell.
Mm-hmm. That's too repetitive.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. I mean, we want to see him fight. We want to see him do exciting things, not deal with, oh my God, I got to get pictures to J. Jonah Jameson, or I'm not going to be able to pay my rent, or, I don't have money to buy web fluid. What am I going to do? You can only go to that so many times before people are like, come on, just let Spider-Man fight Doc Ock.
As far as the Superman, I'm not too familiar with I guess he's like a other universe Superman or whatever.
He could be. I mean, like I said, I don't know where this fits into the general DC, because I think like all the regular books like took a month off or two for this future state thing.
Mhm.
Like I said, I don't get it, and I'm too far behind to even try to do anything but catch up.
Well, it's Warner Brothers. I mean, they can do whatever they want.
Sure.
It's their company and all that. I'm okay with it. But if he's Clark Kent, I got an issue with it. I want the characters to look as close as possible to the characters that we see in the comics. That's why, I know that Disney's coming out with The Little Mermaid. Ariel should be red-haired, green tail, and the girl that they cast, it's not going to look anything like her. And I think that's an issue for me. Same thing, what I've been saying for War Machine for the longest time. I love War Machine in the comics. And Don Cheadle just doesn't look like War Machine to me, or Rhodey to me in the comics. Rhodey's younger. He's more built. He's a badass. And Don Cheadle looks like you can just blow on him and he'd go flying. I just want the characters to look as close as possible to what we see. So like when they cast somebody for the Jungle Book, or they do a live action thing, or Aladdin or something like that, let them look a little bit close. Because that's what we all want to see. I mean, well, I do anyway. I can't speak for everybody, but that's what I enjoy seeing, like when I go to the movies, something like that. So hopefully,
I've debated you enough on the Don Cheadle thing, so let's get ready. We have March Madness to start.
That's a good
wrap our heads around.
Okay, so we're going to get into Marvel DC March Madness, and like I said, we're going to have Marvel
dramatic music.
I'll get it. Don't worry about it. We're going to have Marvel, and we're going to have DC, and again, we're going to have villains, and we're going to have heroes. So it's going to be interesting.
All mixed up.
All right, so that's what I was going to say. So I got this bowl here, right? Can you see this bowl? So this is Marvel. I got this bowl here. This is DC. Now, what do you want to do? Do you want
mix up?
You want me to mix them up?
Do it. Do it.
I was kind of debating whether or not we should do it. All right.
Do it.
So I got a big bowl over here. So
that's a colander, not a bowl.
Is it? Well, don't correct me.
Mix it.
All right, so I got a little bit of Marvel in here and a little bit of DC in here. Some more Marvel. So we're done here. I'll put this on the top and shake it. Something already came out.
That's because it's a colander, not a bowl.
Shut up.
Don't forget the ones that fell out.
All right, so I'm mixing it up over here. And we're going to do 32 contestants tonight. So are you ready, Jack?
Always.
All right. Here's the first one. Let me see if you guys can see this. I'll pull this up here.
Ooh, Cyborg Superman, a tough contender.
All right. Let's see who the next one is.
Sandman. Oh, okay.
All right, Marvel Sandman.
Marvel Sandman.
All right, Jack. What do you think?
This is a good one. Okay, Sandman. Like we've mentioned before on the show, how Sandman is like a perfect special effects villain. Like he really worked in Spider-Man 3, because when you want to see how Spider-Man was made more aggressive, he could pound the heck out of Sandman and you're not getting any blood, any gore. What you're getting is basically sand splattering everywhere. And that effect is also works the advantage, his advantage in this fight, because as strong as Superman is, he could hit the Sandman and just scatter him. And the Sandman will reform. Now, Cyborg Superman, I know he has the strength. He can do technology, merge with technology and control it. I don't remember if he has any sort of energy-based powers like Superman's heat vision or anything like that, Joe.
I'm looking into it, but go ahead.
Okay. I think this could turn out to be a good fight, because if Sandman envelops Cyborg Superman and starts getting sand into his gears and everything, that could make it kind of tough. But I think this would be a fun fight to watch. But eventually, I would give it to the Cyborg Superman, because he may figure out that he can scatter the Sandman far enough and then start putting pieces of him in different things.
So one of the powers
he can't reform.
One of the powers that Cyborg Superman has is electronic consciousness. Since he is at the core an energy being, Henshaw is extremely difficult to permanently destroy, as he can transfer his electronic consciousness into any nearby machine.
Right. But you see, I don't think it would get to the point that the Sandman would be able to outright destroy him. But I think he could gum up the works enough that he could immobilize him. But like I said, if Cyborg Superman could figure out that by scattering the Sandman enough, and then, the part of the arm that was scattered, put in one steel drum, a leg in another steel drum, that he keeps the Sandman broken up into different pieces, that might do it. Or, there has been, I think, a development with Sandman, that Sandman is also sort of an energy-based entity, that he's really, at his core, that is just sand that he is able to hold together, that he's actually just like a little energy dot that can gather sand and form it into a being. So it may be the same sort of thing, but if Sandman is scattered and then that little piece is contained where it cannot get access to any more material, then it goes to Cyborg Superman. But Hank Henshaw is smart. So that's his name, right?
Yep.
Henshaw. I would say it would be Cyborg Superman who figures out how to take out Sandman. But I think that would be a good fight.
I think he would definitely have the advantage. Like you said, he is smart. I don't think that Sandman
is that smart.
No. What was his? It was his alias. I forgot his name. What's Sandman's alias? I can't think of his name.
I don't remember his name either. He's always just been Sandman.
It's going to come to me. But he also, Cyborg Superman has the advantage of flight too. And he can attack from a distance. And I don't think the Sandman can touch him. Although, he can escape in different ways, but that's the whole thing. You can only run so far. Right. I would I agree with you. I'm going to give it to Cyborg Superman.
I would also, if Cyborg Superman is something like Superman's heat vision, I could see him crystallizing the Sandman with heat.
Yeah, that's good.
And once again, immobilizing the Sandman. So I'd say Cyborg Superman.
Okay.
Goes to this round.
All right, let's look at the next one.
You making up the brackets?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a good one.
Captain America versus.
Yeah, you read off the names. I'll pick them. Oh, this is a nice one.
The Fabulous Supergirl.
Yeah. What say you on that one, Jack McCarthy?
I say Supergirl all the way. Even though Captain America is great and he is at the peak human condition, he's not going to be able to last more than a second against Supergirl. A Kryptonian with their invulnerability, their strength, their speed.
Well, what about kryptonite? Can he use that?
Does he usually walk around with it in his pocket?
Well, maybe he would know about it.
I mean, if you come down to it, it's the whole, oh, Batman could beat anyone if he has time to plan. I'm thinking we're just like ding, 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 and they jump in the ring. And you know what? Kryptonite is not as common an item as sometimes the comics make it out to be. I think kryptonite should be treated even more rare than adamantium in the DC universe. Because if you think Krypton was light years away and exploded, what are the chances that all that much would really reach Earth?
No, I agree. And that's what killed me about Smallville. I couldn't stand it. They were like picking kryptonite out of the crack of their butts,
it's all over the field. Oh, it's everywhere, these green rocks.
Yeah.
No, not that much of it should have reached Earth. And people can rationalize, oh, well, some remnants followed the trail of Superman's pod's warp trail or whatever. But still, it should be so extremely rare to find that it should be almost non-existent. The one piece that they managed to find was what Lex Luthor somehow got and made into a ring, which eventually the low yield of radiation eventually destroyed his hand.
Well, Metallo had some on him too.
Yeah, it's the same thing. That a big chunk the size of a heart, like that should be all that hits the planet. Like the odds of more of it getting here would be astronomical. But still, you know what? Even from a distance, she'd cut him down with the heat rays or freeze him with the cold breath, drop a building on him. I don't think Captain America could hold up to a Kryptonian.
Well, Captain America, I mean, he is one of the top tiers, I would say.
He's great. I would say there's a large percentage of heroes he could beat. He's the top, like I said, top hand-to-hand guy as well. But there's just really not much he could do against Supergirl.
No, I agree with you. I actually think if Iron Man fought her, he might have more of a chance.
Iron Man would probably put up a better fight
because he could use his intelligence. I think a little better. Kind of figure out what her weaknesses are.
He'd shoot himself with a red sun ray gun.
Yeah, maybe he would do something like that, or shoot her with a yellow sun, beam or something like that.
I mean, I think Iron Man.
She gets her strength from the yellow sun. The red sun's the bad, right?
Red sun is would hurt.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
I think Iron Man would be able to figure out, what sort of radiation she might be vulnerable, and come up with whatever radiation a red sun gives off. So I think Iron Man would stand a better chance if he could figure that out before she rips the armor off.
Yeah, that's true. She's pretty fast.
Iron Man would stand a better chance against her than Cap.
All right, let's look for another one here. Man, we're getting a lot of Superman family. Oop, wrong thing.
Superboy Prime. Oh, who's the poor guy he's got to fight?
Oh man, I'm dropping these things.
The Martian Manhunter. Ooh. It depends who gets to jump on who first. I think if the Martian Manhunter could use his mental abilities quick enough to stop Superboy Prime, he has a chance. But overall, Superboy Prime is just one of those ridiculous characters that they made for an event, and he's still sticking around. And yeah, Superboy Prime.
He's extremely overpowered.
He's ridiculously powered. I mean, during one of those infinite events, it was him punching the wall of reality is what caused Jason Todd to be, resurrected. All sorts of weird things across the DC universe that said, we'd love to bring him back, but we need to figure out how. well, let's have this happen. Let's use this as a precedent, and it opened up a lot of opportunities to bring characters back. But that's just a crazy power.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say Superboy Prime, because I don't think the Martian Manhunter would be able to get a firm enough grip psychically on him before he just took him apart.
Yeah, I agree with that. Martian Manhunter also has that thing with the fire. You know, he would use that to his advantage. Yeah, that's not going to happen. That was a quick one. First round knockout. All right, who's the next one here?
Couple of first round knockouts. Ultron. Okay, now we're cooking.
Okay, Ultron.
Ooh, versus Black Adam. Now that would be a good fight. Because I don't think we've seen anything that shows like that, like a DC level character could dent or break adamantium. And like I said, that's Ultron's shell. And I mean, Thor could stay there all day pounding on with Mjolnir, and Ultron still keeps going. It's usually that they outsmart Ultron or figure out some way to get through that adamantium shell. And I don't think Black Adam is smart enough to get that. I mean, he's smart, but
he's got the wisdom of Solomon.
He's wise. Yeah, he's wise, but he's not a tech guy like Tony Stark or Hank Pym that usually comes down to save the day. Even Wanda. Ultron hates Wanda in the comics because she's able to go and, you know, manipulate the probabilities that what would happen if Ultron's fuse shorted out at this point, you know, and she's like, okay, well, instead of that being 1,000,000 to 1 odds, let's make it a 1 to 1 odd, you know, and Ultron shorts out, you know, which is why he's always trying to take Wanda out quicker than nearly anybody else. But I think that would be a darn good fight. And you know what? I'm going to go Ultron.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think?
I would say Black Adam, because that guy's pretty damn powerful.
Oh, he is. He definitely is.
And especially, you know, if they're using flight, the two of them, I think Black Adam has the advantage. I mean, I know Ultron, you know, can fly, but he's no Black Adam. And again, Black Adam has a lot of power, but you know more about Ultron than I do. That his shell can't be broken, you know, is definitely a huge advantage on his part.
Yeah, and I mean, Thor has hit him with lightning and all sorts of energy, and Ultron shrugs it off. So even, you know, the old Shazam lightning bolt trick, that wouldn't work on Ultron. Black Adam could pound him around, but I don't think he'd be able to damage him. I don't know if we could do a draw.
No, I'll go with Ultron then. You know, you make good sense with that one.
Like I said, I think Black Adam is great. I can't wait to see a movie by him or him go up against Shazam. Or he'll always be Captain Marvel in my book. But you know, I'd love to see that fight on screen. That would be great.
All right.
You know, but like I said, that's my feeling. Black Adam would throw Ultron around for hours until he got tired, and Ultron would put up a good fight. But I think eventually Ultron would figure out how to take out Black Adam.
Okay. I got the next one.
Batman versus the Hulk.
That's happened before.
That has happened before. And Batman pulled off a win by gassing the Hulk. Now, I would say since that would be done, Batman would figure out how to immobilize or put the Hulk out. And it's not like long-term planning. I'm sure Batman has knockout gas or something in his utility belt. This isn't Batman had a month to plan to fight the Hulk. I think what the Batman usually has in his utility belt, he could figure out how to put the Hulk out. Now, here's
you think the knockout gas in Batman's utility belt is going to knock out the Hulk?
Considering who Batman fights on a regular basis, he's got to have something, or he's got some sort of neural paralyzer or something. Because let's face it, Batman is, once again, peak human shape. But here's a guy who goes up against super powered beings of incredible power on a regular basis. I'm sure he's got some sort of some trick up his sleeve in the utility belt. You know, if it was the month of plan, you know, Batman would have a elaborate scenario worked out to trick the Hulk somehow. But no, I think Batman would have something up his sleeve to immobilize the Hulk. Now, when he did take him out, he fought the old childlike tantrum Hulk. I don't know how he'd do against someone like Planet Hulk, or the current Immortal Hulk. I think they might just fight nastier or dirtier, that they could get the jump on Batman. But you know what? I'm going to say Batman's got something sneaky up his sleeve that he would pull out and somehow put the Hulk to sleep.
Right. Here's my deal. Batman's got no super strength whatsoever. His armor is limited, I would say.
Yeah.
I think once the Hulk got his hands on him, he'd rip him apart.
And that's where it comes, because they had an issue of the Hulk where the Hulk was someplace and S.H.I.E.L.D. wanted him out. So S.H.I.E.L.D. sent Captain America to take the Hulk out from wherever he was. And Captain America used judo moves and all sorts of stuff. The Hulk couldn't touch him for a while, you know, but he actually managed to throw the Hulk out of a house.
But that's Captain America. He's got that agility. I mean, Batman has some, but he's not a super soldier.
He's not a super soldier, but he's as close as you can get without being a super soldier. So I think Batman, with all his martial arts, could evade the Hulk getting his hands on him. You're correct. If the Hulk got his hands on him, it's over. But I think Batman would be slippery enough for the Hulk not to get a grip on him.
I guess
you know, if you want Hulk, I'll give you the Hulk.
No,
because it depends. There are so many Hulks that
we'll say what you did. All right, we'll make this a draw.
Okay.
One, all right, and then we'll have to work out how we handle draws somehow, because Batman has fought Superman, and for the most part, he's defeated him. So the Hulk would have a problem with Superman, you know.
Yeah, Hulk should have a problem with Superman.
Yeah. All right, let's move on here.
Poison Ivy, okay. The Green Goblin. Oh.
That's okay. A very green looking fight.
Very green, very environmentally friendly. since watching Harley Quinn, I have a whole new appreciation for her.
I know you like her.
I'm telling you, I like her in that show, and I have a whole new appreciation for her. All
right, you want me to go first?
You go first.
All right, the Green Goblin again. He's got it's something that he's got his glider, so he's got the height advantage. He's got the flight. She's no way in hell can she touch him from where she is unless she's in some giant red wood or something like that, or she uses that. She's her what do they call that she uses?
For plantability.
Pheromones or whatever.
Yeah, the pheromones as well.
They're very powerful for sure, but that's a tough one. I would have to say Green Goblin. I think he's more aggressive. I think he is a lunatic.
Absolutely.
He's going to play super dirty, and I think the whole height difference is going to help. That he can fly and that she can't. He can just be throwing pumpkin bombs at her all day long, and he'll eventually get her.
I have to agree. I mean, you also have to remember that the Green Goblin in strength and speed is pretty close to Spider-Man, because otherwise Spider-Man would wipe the floor with him. So the Green Goblin is strong. He's also fast enough where he's actually able to hit Spider-Man, which is kind of a feat in itself. So his powers are quite a notch up above. I don't know what the range of Poison Ivy's pheromones are. Does she have to kiss him or something? Or can it be applied from a range?
Again, I don't know how far the range is either.
Yeah, but I think that it's got to go to the Green Goblin.
Yeah, got to give it to old Gobby. All right.
Black Manta versus Darkseid?
Darkseid.
Or Darkseid, or
I spelled it right.
No, you did. No, I for some reason I always think of him as Darkseid, not Darkseid. Yeah, it's gotta go Darkseid. That's
that's a quick one.
That's a quick one.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Sorry, Black Manta. I wanted you to have more of a fight, but
yeah, you're not gonna last there.
You didn't get lucky. All right, let's see here.
Aquaman, okay. Versus Kite Man.
Oh, this should be interesting.
Oh.
Say it.
The Juggernaut. I love me some Juggernaut. Honestly, I don't think that Aquaman could take him out. As much as, people say, oh, Aquaman, he's kind of a joke. He is very formidable. But, I mean, the Juggernaut took on the planet Hulk, and fought him to a draw. And I don't think Aquaman could stop the Juggernaut, because nothing could stop the Juggernaut. Because the Juggernaut's powers are magic based, he might even be able to take out Superman.
Really?
Because he's indestructible, and he's got.
I'm not as familiar with the Juggernaut as you are, but isn't most of his power come from his helmet?
No. The helmet is used to give him shielding from psychic.
Xavier?
Yes, from psychic attacks. But his power is bestowed on him from a demon, Psytok. He's got a red gem. And when the Juggernaut grabbed the gem, he got powers from Psytok to be his agent of destruction on Earth. So the Juggernaut's powers are magic based, which means that he might give Superman a tough time as well. Because like I said, he's taken out the Hulk several times and fought him to a draw. He's taken out Thor because Thor threw his hammer and the Juggernaut's that aura field actually slowed Mjolnir down, where the Juggernaut grabbed it while it was in flight. And when it returned to Thor, the Juggernaut used it as a ride back, and pounded the heck out of Thor. So I got to go with Juggernaut.
Yeah, I would say Juggernaut too. I think the problem with Aquaman is the Juggernaut's never going to get in the water to fight him, unless
the Juggernaut,
Aquaman,
when he gets dropped in water, he just stomps his way under the bottom because he can survive underwater. He doesn't need air. He can survive in space. Doesn't need air. So
wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he can just keep trudging along.
That's a tough one. I'm not thinking about the Jason Momoa Aquaman. I'm thinking about the Aquaman in the comics.
Arthur Curry, yeah.
The wise Aquaman, wondering if that would be an advantage for him. I don't know. I'm going to have to give that one to you, Jack. If you say Juggernaut, I'll
I don't know if Aquaman has Poseidon's trident, right? Or is it just
Atlantis? Is it Atlantis?
Because like you see Namor. Namor's got the trident. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's Poseidon's trident as well. But I know DC has much more interaction with characters finding things of the gods. Like Wonder Woman has several things of the gods. I don't know if it is the trident of Poseidon. That might make a difference because you're going from one deity item against a demonic item. I don't know, but like I said, I still go with the Juggernaut.
Okay. All right, next one.
Venom versus.
This is a good one, I think.
Doomsday. While it would be cool, I think it would be over quick. I'd go with Doomsday. Once again, even though Venom is as fast as Spider-Man and stronger, the fact that Doomsday could take out Superman, and like I said before, the same thing with the Green Goblin. The fact that Doomsday is even able to lay a punch on Superman means he's got to have some sort of super speed as well. And if he hit Venom, he'd just turn him into chopped meat.
Yeah, and even though I'd say Eddie Brock he's strong on his own, like from lifting and all that stuff. I'm thinking of the early Eddie Brock and all that. And he has the power of Spider-Man and the symbiote combined. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, tough for Venom. I guess I would agree with you with Doomsday.
This would last slightly longer than Darkseid versus Black Manta.
All right. Yeah, I'm just going to go with Doomsday because I think it's like one of the situations like with Batman and the Hulk. Like if Doomsday got a hold of him, he'd rip him apart pretty quickly. And the symbiote might survive, but I don't think Eddie Brock would survive.
Exactly. And I think at this point, even though they're doing some once again, I'm so far behind, I don't even know what's going on with their King in Black storyline. But isn't Eddie Brock like bonded to symbiote enough where like if Eddie Brock dies, the symbiote's going to die as well?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just thinking of the original Eddie Brock because I mean I know didn't he have cancer and he also died, and did they bring him back?
Oh, all
or-
sorts of weird stuff.
Yeah, so I'm not beyond that part, so I couldn't tell you. But yeah, let's just go with Doomsday. All right, who we got next here?
The Flash, Barry Allen, okay, versus Nightwing. This would be over in a flash.
Yeah, this is a quick one too.
It's literally Flash.
And it's literally quick.
It's literally quick.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, we said we were going to see this. There are going to be a lot of mismatches. But it's what's going to happen is that eventually we're going to get to the really good matches, like in the next rounds that come about. But yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Flash has got that super speed, and Nightwing has got no powers.
Now we saw Nightwing versus Captain America. We're talking a good
little
slugfest.
Closer, yeah. But Flash, like you said, he's almost a god. Nightwing, he'd never be able to keep up with them. And I like Nightwing a lot. I mentioned last time that I would like to see him get more love in the movies and comics. But yeah, let's give this one to Flash. I'm glad we're getting quick here. That was our 20th one, and we got to do 32.
Oh, really? Okay.
So we're going pretty quick. All right, here we go.
It's Storm versus Ant-May Cyborg. Oh, okay. I'm not the guy that's up on Cyborg of all the crazy things they're doing with him now. So I only know the older Cyborg. And if it was the older Cyborg, I would give it to Storm. Only because between her flight and elemental-based powers, I think she'd be able to blast them enough to take them out. And she's also a very skilled martial artist as well. She's not up in the Iron Fist, Shang-Chi category, but she knows how to take care of herself hand to hand.
I didn't know that. That's
oh yeah, she's a tough fighter. So she may be able to avoid, him hitting her or something. He used to have a blaster cannon as well. But her flying around, I don't know if she'd let herself be a target for him to really get much of a lock on her.
But he also flies.
Now, huh?
He also flies.
Now he flies. Okay, the Cyborg I read years ago in Teen Titans didn't. He was like their strong guy. So, I mean, but now Cyborg has all sorts of mother box.
He's got alien technology.
And alien technology. So, as much as I like Storm, I'd have to give it to Cyborg.
Yeah, me too. Because again, a lot of her weather powers. Could she do earthquakes?
No, but she could call. She can cause a lot of. I think she has some control over water, and then of course lightning and wind. Like I said, but honestly, I don't know what happens if you hit Cyborg with an energy attack. Can he absorb it or shrug it?
Yeah, I don't know if he would short out or something like that.
I don't know, but
how good is her aim with lightning?
Well,
is it random or is it?
I think no. She's hit people with lightning bolts.
Yeah.
So she's good target practice. So yeah, but I would say Cyborg because I think from even in the old Teen Titan days, I think he could stand anything she would throw at him. And if he doesn't get his hands on her, he still has his blaster cannon. So, and now with all this alien tech and stuff he's got, I'd say he'd take her out.
Yeah, I like Storm a lot better than Cyborg as characters.
Yeah.
But I think she's very limited. She controls the weather. She's got more things, like you said, but I think Cyborg is more of a total package, especially with the advancement that he's got with the alien technology, with his new origin that he has.
Right.
So, and the power of flight, like I said, yeah, I would go with Cyborg too. So, all right, up to 23 and 24 now. Let's see here. Oh, you like this guy.
The Thing. He beats Superman easy because he's the Thing.
Ooh, well, this is interesting.
The Super Skrull. Oh, Super Skrull's one of my favorite FF villains too.
And this has happened before for sure.
This has happened before. However, this goes to Super Skrull. The Super Skrull was designed to be able to fight the Fantastic Four by Skrull engineering, and all this stuff. He's got all the powers of the FF. They might not be at the level of each FF member, but the combination of them, plus he's also got another sneaky trick. The Super Skrull has hypnotic vision.
Oh, really?
So, the Thing would have to be fighting him like this, because the moment the Thing locks eyes with him, the Super Skrull just put him to sleep, tell him stop, stand still. So the Super Skrull, that hypnosis power is also puts him over the edge, as well as, like I said, he may not be as strong as the Thing, but he's very close. And if he's invisible, punching the Thing from every type of angle, and he can combine all those powers. So he could be a Human Torch, hitting the Thing with a fiery fist. He could be an invisible Mr. Fantastic stretching his arm to hit him with a Thing fist. He can do all sorts of crazy things, which is why he's such a fun character. So I think old Benji would have a tough time. That one goes to the Super Skrull.
Does the Thing's eyelids, are they made out of rock?
They probably are, yeah.
That's gotta suck. I really feel bad for that guy.
Well, I mean, yeah, no one wants to be the Thing.
No, that's gotta be the worst. I'd rather be the Hulk than the Thing. Yes.
Well, yeah.
I mean, the Hulk, could wear clothes. Well, I guess the Thing can too.
Part of what makes the Thing endearing is the fact that he is in a terrible, let's face it, the guy is made of brick. He's made of stone. Everything is hard for him because, instead of having 5 fingers, he's got 4,
Oh, that was a nice pun, Jack. Did you get that? Everything's hard for him. Everything's hard for him.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
That was an unintentional pun, but the fact that the Thing has this terrible condition, that is what makes him the Thing. And he's still cracking jokes and trying to live a normal life. And, he's struggling, he's fighting, and he always never tries to get him down. He never lets it get him down for that long. He always kind of pushes through and comes back and finds something to joke and smile about. So that's part of what makes the Thing enduring and endearing. But the Super Skrull is just badass.
All right. I never liked the Super Skrull. I thought he's the dumbest character. I don't like his design. I mean, every time I see him, he's got a brick hand, one hand, and I guess an invisible leg or a stretchy arm and a torch head or something like that. Just stupid. I never liked him. He used to be in Marvel versus Capcom. Hated him because it's just like the dumbest character ever.
Well, he was a product of the 60s that,
yeah.
Once again, to only defeat this team, we have to create someone that has all of those powers together. And that's the Super Skrull. But he's, like I said, he's cool. And the fact that he still has the Skrull ability also to change his shape makes him fun, because he shows up in different places that you would never know he's a Super Skrull until he hits you with a flaming stony fist.
Well, I'll go with you with Super Skrull because I mean you do make him sound pretty damn powerful. But I'm a huge fan of the Thing.
I love the
and,
Thing, but
you know, I can't give it to him for sympathy. But you know,
all right.
Let's see what the next one is.
Iron Man versus the can opener. The Green Arrow. Okay.
Come on.
I'm going to put this
I may veto you.
in the same category where Hawkeye used to be like an Iron Man villain. And Hawkeye would always give Iron Man a tough time. However, that was in Iron Man Armor Mach 2 or 4, whatever. When he first started with the red and gold versus the, what was he, like in gray, then he was in gold, and then he eventually went to the red and gold.
Mm.
It would be Iron Man, but I think Green Arrow is even sneakier than Hawkeye.
You think so? Yeah.
I think so. So I don't think we would see, going against Iron Man, I don't think we would see the punching glove arrow, but we would probably see him have some sort of sneaky stuff to try to short circuit Iron Man's armor. However, I think from the villains that Iron Man has fought through the years, I don't think the Green Arrow would come up with anything that would get past Tony Stark's surge protectors, firewall, whatever you want to call it. He may be able to mobilize him or something with some sort of net arrow or something crazy like that. But I don't think it would be a matter of him being able to get through the armor to stop Iron Man. I mean, he's definitely well enough to say, okay, I'll shoot him in the eye slits, but even the eye slits are now, they're not open like they used to be. They're like shielded. So I'd give it to Iron Man.
Yeah, I'd give it to Iron Man too. I don't think Green Arrow would have a chance at all. That's me personally. Well, these ones are sticking out here. Oh, this is one of your favorites.
Nova. Ooh, okay. Versus the Human Torch. Ooh, okay. Once again, I'm a huge FF fan. However, Nova is able to fly through space, get very close to stars, survive on steaming planets. Even if the Human Torch went into his Nova Blast, I don't think he'd be, I think Nova would take him out. I mean, also Nova is faster, given the fact that he can travel vast distances in space to get from point A to point B. Yeah, I'd go with Nova. I don't think the Human Torch could stand up to him.
I don't know too much about Nova. I mean, I know very little about him. I know more about the Human Torch, but I'm sure he's evolved since when I used to follow him. He's probably more powerful. Giant Storm.
He's, his temperatures, he's able to do heat intensity. But a lot of what there is to love about the Human Torch is his attitude. He's a jokester. He's a little bit of a smart aleck. I mean, honestly, you can understand the Thing wanting to wring his neck most of the time.
Well, that's one of his weaknesses too, is that he's never fully matured,
Right.
and I think he can easily be manipulated or made angry, which would kind of take him out of the fight and all that stuff. I don't know how Nova is. I mean, I know when he started, he was young.
When Nova started, he was young. And if it was that Nova versus the Human Torch, I would probably go more towards the Human Torch. But Nova got a significant power upgrade when the Annihilation event started. That he got the combined powers of the Nova Corps. So all of his powers were ramped up. Where at the height of Annihilation, he actually reached in and pulled Nihilus's guts out through his mouth. He was that strong. And, I would just say, yeah, Nova, the way Nova is after Annihilation, the Human Torch couldn't take him.
Yeah, I'll go with you because he does seem pretty powerful, especially how you explained him to me recently in our last episode.
That I think you should track down is the Annihilation story, Joe. That is one of the best Marvel storylines out there. That is up there. Whenever they do the rankings, that is up there between that and Infinity Gauntlet as like the top Marvel storylines ever. So, like I said, you may want to pick up those trades if they're on sale.
All right, let's get to the next one here.
Captain Marvel. Marvel's Captain Marvel.
Marvel's Captain Marvel.
Carol Danvers.
It's a girl fight.
Ooh, versus the Invisible Woman. Ooh, that's a tough one.
I don't think so.
You know what? If the Invisible Woman wants to be as nasty as she could be, I would say she would take it.
Right.
Captain Marvel is incredibly strong. She's got the energy beams. She can fly. However, as Sue Richards has said before, she can project her force fields inside of people. I believe that's how she knocked out the Hulk. I think if she was really that kind of person, she could probably create a force field inside of Captain Marvel and just stop her heart.
How's she going to reach her? What's her range?
No, her range. She protected the entire city of New York or of Manhattan in a force field when Galactus plucked it up into space. Actually, it was Terrax the Tamer trying to lure Galactus to Earth. He raised Manhattan into orbit, and it was Sue Storm with her force field that held all the air in for the people. So her range is incredibly far. And let's face it, I mean, all she has to do is make a force bubble about that big, probably. She's threatened that to several villains. One of the funniest scenes was, she was captured by the Wizard from the Frightful Four, and she basically said, "You know what I can do to you?" And she explained this whole thing to her. She says, "I don't, because my husband would never forgive me for killing you outright." And she just emotionally rips the Wizard apart, where the rest of the Frightful Four are like, "Oh man, she could be scary. We never thought of that." And like I said, she's threatened people to do it. She knocked out the Hulk by cutting off his oxygen that way. So I would say, as long as Sue Richards had line of sight on Carol Danvers, I'd say she could probably take it out, because Thor's hammer couldn't get through Sue's force field until after quite a bit of pounding, and she's blocked massive energy attacks with her force field. So I think Sue Storm potentially could take out Carol Danvers. But by being Sue Richards, America's sweetheart, she wouldn't play dirty like that. But if she did, she could do it.
Now, I love the Invisible Woman. And I think she's super powerful. She's one of my favorite member of the Fantastic Four too. But they're all, that's what makes them great, is that you need all of them. If one of them is missing, it's just never the same.
It's never the same.
Yeah, you need
the only time
four.
It was close. I loved when the She-Hulk was on the team.
I don't remember that.
The She-Hulk made a great replacement for the Thing because she was still a fun kind of character. So
I remember when Medusa was on the team.
Yeah, Medusa never. She's not Sue.
And the She-Thing.
No, that was
Captain Miss Marvel, right?
That was Sharon Ventura. She went by Miss Marvel, but totally unrelated to Carol Danvers.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'd have to go with Captain Marvel. I think she would annihilate her, because she's just so damn powerful. She's crazy powerful. I just think that she would have the edge on it. But you know what I'm going to do, Jack? We'll make this another draw. But what we'll do with these draws, we'll put them in a wild card, and we'll have all of them go at it next week, and see who's the winner, out of all of them. All right, so the last two here. This actually went pretty quick, a lot quicker than I expected. All right, let me get my thing here.
The Joker versus Asriel. Okay.
You know what I'm going to say.
Well, honestly, I would have to say go with Asriel because we've seen how the Joker operates. But let's face it, Asriel is like Batman, but has no hesitation to kill anybody. I think the Joker would try his tricks because he's like a cat looking at a mouse. He wants to play with it. He always wants to play with his victims. And he might make the stake that Asriel would be like Batman and, always hold back, which Asriel wouldn't. And I think Asriel would just use his wrist blades to remove the Joker's head. So yeah, I got to go with Asriel on this one.
Yeah, Asriel is heavily armored, first of all. And like you said, he has got no claws in his abilities where he doesn't kill anybody. He's got no problem killing the Joker at all. And I don't think he would be, soft on him whatsoever. And again, the Joker, he doesn't have any superpowers or anything like that. He's just a psychotic, crazy person that we said recently he's a bit overrated. Asriel doesn't have superpowers either, but he has a lot of training, and he also has that suit that's pretty damn powerful
and cool looking. I was cool looking. After our episode last week, I went and I pulled out the Sword of Asriel trade paperback, and I was looking at it. I'm like, that's such a cool looking suit.
Yeah, it is. I love that costume.
Yeah, the original Asriel costume is just, it kind of has that almost old style Renaissance look to it. It's just a cool design.
It is. It's definitely.
It's got like that Mr. Sinister type of frayed cape.
And it's got the Iron Man colors too, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, well, red, black, and gold. A lot of black in that costume, but it's a cool looking costume.
Yeah. All right, so that's it. That was our 32 for this week. We'll do another 32 next week, and we'll get to the wild card maybe next week or the week after. But we got some pretty good picks, and we got a lot more picks to go through. We'll have all new characters coming up next week for the next round.
I'll have to get a bracket going.
Yeah, I think that went pretty good so far.
All right.
So where we're at, I guess what we're going to do, Jack. Let's just we'll skip WandaVision, and we'll tie it up next week since tonight is the very last episode. Apparently, we'll just kind of give our quick review of WandaVision next week, and but we'll answer some listener email, and this one's directed specifically to you.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum bum bum. It's actually a
I
very
don't know
good
why you
question.
send it directly to me. You can. We'll give you my email address at the end of the episode, so you can just send it directly to me. But we'll go through the mail courier.
Well, they know I'm much more lovable than you. You know, it's like that's how it is. That's how it goes, Jack.
Okay.
All right. Anyway,
argue with you.
no, this is.
We
from
all
Daniel.
know who their favorite is. It's okay, Joe.
Yeah, this is from Daniel. I speak to Daniel a lot. You know, so he had mentioned this. His question is, if Jane Foster is worthy of Mjolnir and is wielding it, and then becomes a new Thor, how come Cap didn't become the new Thor in Endgame? He only got lightning powers, but his look stayed the same. I think I have an answer for that, but I want to hear yours.
I think the difference is going between the MCU and comic books. In the comic books, even in the comic books, when Cap was able to pick up Thor's hammer, the hammer works differently in the comics. In the movies, if the hammer's there, Cap can pick it up. You know, we've seen that where they're in the fight and, you know, him and Thor are able to toss it back and forth to each other. There's no dire consequences at the time. When Cap grabbed the hammer in the comics, it was in a moment of crisis, live or die, fate of the universe situation, where that desperate situation and the purity of his soul allowed him to grab it, pick it up, and use it quickly. Afterwards, he wasn't able to. Only Thor could hold Thor's hammer. That's not the case in the MCU. Like at the end of the MCU, when they're returning to Infinity Stones, you know, Cap is just bringing Mjolnir along so he can return it along with the red Infinity Stone. So it works differently. In the comics, however, I'm sure when Cap had the hammer, if he probably tapped it on the ground like you used to have to, and like how Jane Forrester did, we would have seen Captain Thor. But he didn't. As soon as he got it, he started using it. But I think if he did the ground tap with it, we would have seen, you know, Captain America in the red, white, and blue cape. The wings would have gone like this, you know, on the side of his costume. But yeah, I think that's why, because comic books. Jane being Thor, like I said, at first I was like, what? Lady Thor? No, she's not Lady Thor, she's Thor. It's like, okay, you know, whatever. But I gotta say, Jason Aaron did a fantastic run with her as Thor, and gave her the leading role in the book for a while, and he did a great job with her. I think they wrapped up the cancer storyline a little too neat and tidy.
So I'm assuming she survived.
She survived. Not only did she survive, she was completely cured. Not remission, she was completely cured. And she could have been cured at any time because they were going to give her one of the Asgardian golden apples, which heals you, cures you, gives you immortality, everything, takes care of you. But she refused it because she thought that was a cheap way out of fighting the cancer. But once she took over, once she relinquished the title of Thor and became a Valkyrie, that's when they're like, oh, she's completely cured. It's not remission. She's completely cured. And it was kind of like almost a quick and easy, tidy way to get that storyline wrapped up and done so they don't have to address it anymore and move on to something else. But yeah, that's why we saw Jane, and we saw her in approach the hammer, a frail little hand come out and grab it, pick up the hammer, and then we saw Lady Thor. So, we saw her as Thor. So, how they will handle that in the MCU in Thor 4, Love and Thunder, we'll just have to see. We've talked about Natalie Portman. How are they going to handle that? Because love Natalie Portman, but she's tiny.
Yeah, she's like 5 feet tall.
Yeah, I mean,
probably 90 pounds.
When Jane Foster was Thor, she was this 6 foot blonde.
Oh, maybe they can do that with CGI. Like they can build her up without it looking stupid.
I don't know.
Hopefully they will.
If it was back in the day, Lady Thor would look like, remember Brigitte Nielsen?
Yeah.
In Rocky IV?
Or Red Sonja.
Right. That's who should be playing Lady Thor.
Yeah, no, I agree.
She turns into like that 6 foot something gorgeous blonde beauty. That still looks scary as heck.
See, I find it funny. It was skirting. I can't say that word. Skirting around, not calling her Lady Thor or Miss Thor.
Well, that was the thing, because people in the comic would be like, "Oh, so are you She-Thor?" And she's like, "No, I'm just Thor."
I'd call her.
The hammer says I'm Thor, not Lady Thor, not She-Thor, not Thor girl.
I'd call her Mrs. Thor.
Or Miss Thor, Mrs. Thor.
Mrs. Thor, just to piss her off. All right, so let me give my answer.
Okay.
It's a little similar to yours. So we've seen in the MCU, not only did Cap wield the hammer, but so did Vision. Nothing happened with Vision either. I think in the MCU, Thor decides whether or not he's going to have his godly duds, because he does carry around that hammer a lot without his metallic armor on, like when he's at the party at Ultron and stuff like that. So I think that he decides when he's going to go to battle. And I guess plus even when they met with Ultron, he was in a different outfit, and then he called upon the gods to give him the actual Thor body armor, or more of a body armor. So I think that that's basically the answer, is that if Cap wanted to, he probably could have called upon the gods, but I just don't think that it was necessary. And I think it was a better aesthetic that it was just Cap and the hammer than instead of,
I think so. I think that was the
giving him
choice.
Like wings,
Well,
maybe a cape would have been
Thor
cool.
in the MCU doesn't have the wings.
He has the helmet sometimes.
I like the helmet in the first one where he lays it down.
I did, yeah.
That was a cool looking helmet.
He had it in Ragnarok.
Yeah, but that was more like a
that was
visor kind of thing. That was okay, but I mean, the helmet he had in the throne room scene, that was cool.
I agree. And I had such a problem when that Thor came out. I mean, I loved him as Thor, but I was like, why isn't he wearing his helmet? Why isn't he wearing his helmet? That really bothered me. Eventually I got used to it, but
why isn't he wearing his mask?
That's the same thing.
Putting his face shield down.
No,
it's the same. It's the same thing.
It's like I said. I want them to look exactly, or pretty much closer. But I will say Thor was.
Chris Hemsworth had to show off the golden locks.
But it was an improvement. I would say his costume in the MCU was a little better than what we had seen in the comic books. For me, anyway, I thought.
Well, it was very close when they relaunched Thor. After Avengers Disassembled, his costume was very close to what they have in the MCU, with the more of like the armor plates. And I mean, honestly, that look when he gets stripped of his powers and the armor sort of disintegrates off of him, I thought that was a cool effect too. Like that shows when his, he gets the godly prestige kind of thing, and at the end when he gets the hammer back and you start to see the armor reform, that's a cool effect. I like it.
It's a cool effect. But I'm used to classic Thor, sleeveless, showing the big guns,
the black tunic with the blue plates on it.
Nice red cape and everything. And to see, Thor in his armor in the MCU, it was very regal. It was very nice. And they did a great job with them. At no point did I say...
The old gold one? Gold armor?
When you're talking about...
He had gold armor, blue, with a brighter blue tunic.
You're saying in the movies or the comics?
In the comics.
Oh.
Remember when he had the beard for a while?
Oh, yeah. No, he had blue. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I that armor I never liked. I could not get into that look.
Well, again, this was like the classic. Well, we're not going to get into much into it. All right. But anyway, all right, let's wrap this one up. So, Jack, can you tell everyone where they can find you?
You can always send me email directly, hint, hint, at jackm@wdwnt.com.
And if you want, you can email me at joe@wdwnt.com or send me a friend request on Facebook too. Also, if you like our show and enjoy other WDWNT podcasts and would like to become a Patreon supporter, please visit WDWNT's Patreon page at www.patreon.com/WDWNT. And check out Walt Disney World News Today, as well as Universal Parks News Today for all your Disney and Universal news, parks news, and other news too. Also, please visit the Carousel of Products, where there is a ton of fun WDWNT merchandise on sale. Nothing, Jack?
Nothing.
No merchandise for you?
No merchandise today.
And let's see here. Finally, please like and subscribe to the WDWNT Entertainment Channel on YouTube, where you can find Nerd Alert and other WDWNT original programming available there. And like we said, it's on YouTube. All right. So with that, this will be the end of WDWNT Nerd Alert, Season 7, Episode 7. So until next time, see ya.
Good night, all, and be good to each other.
Yep.